Afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to our KETIV AEC Lunch and Learn. My name is Eric Crotola, Territory Account Manager here at KETIV. With me, I have my friend and colleague, Andy Dio, KETIV's
Yes.
Director of Marketing.
Some of you may have been receiving emails from me, especially this morning as a reminder to this. So, hello, everyone.
Yeah, you probably click unsubscribe.
Hey, don't do that.
You're probably not used to seeing Fred Ortiz, who's my counterpart and AEC Solution Engineer. Fred's a little under the weather today, but the good news is we have Sasha Crotty, Autodesk Revit Core Product Manager, here to help us out and present some of the new features in Revit 2017. For some of you who are new to the webcast or our Lunch and Learn, we're going to be with you guys for about 45 minutes today, and we'll make sure we leave about 5 to 10 minutes for a Q&A at the end. One thing I always like to say is we try and keep these as collaborative as possible, which is why we got the chat box. If you guys do have any questions at any point during the presentation, feel free to just go ahead and type them in, and Andy, myself, or Sasha will do our best to address them as they come up. Andy, you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about our agenda today, or I guess Autodesk Virtual Academy and what that might mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to just spend a couple minutes here talking about Autodesk Virtual Academy. It is a free service from KETIV. It's a live, year-round online learning session provided to everyone who uses Autodesk products. So we have a track for manufacturing customers, and we have a track for AEC customers. So for AEC customers, they usually work harder than the manufacturing guys. So we put it during lunch where people can actually take a break and join us. So again, I appreciate everyone taking the time today to jump on with us, and I hope you all enjoying a very good lunch at your desk. But it's every other Wednesday, and we cover a variety of topics, anywhere from new products, workflows, tips and tricks that covers anything that has to do with the AEC industry. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, we had a customer on from P2S sharing experience of how they implemented BIM. And we have guests from time to time, like today we have Sasha on with us directly from Autodesk. So I hope all of you join us as often as you can and learn something new during your lunch.
Yeah, and then one thing I'd probably just add to that, Andy, is it's really simple. All you do is register once. Before, you used to have to kind of click and pick the topics. Now, you log in once, you'll get the update. So about 25 times a year, every other week, you can see a session. And if you're a civil engineer, you might want to join one on the updates to Civil 3D 2017. An architect, you might want to join one on setting up a workshare in Revit, or however you want to do. But the whole idea being, whether you're a customer or not, although we'd like to see you be one day, you can sign on, enjoy, learn, provide feedback, hopefully pick up something, pass it along, and yeah, there's no strings attached or no charge. And then for some of you who actually can't attend during your lunch hour for whatever reason, we always archive them on our YouTube channel later, so you can check them out as you have time.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So without further ado, at this point, I'd like to transfer the presentation over to Sasha Crotty. As Eric had mentioned before, Sasha is the Revit Core Product Manager from Autodesk.
All right, thanks Andy and Eric. So my name is Sasha Crotty, and as I think we've said this the third time, I'm the Revit Core Product Manager, which means that I'm responsible for identifying feature enhancements for the Revit platform and really making sure that Revit continues running for all of you. So I've been with Revit for about 10 years, so I've been with the group for a long time, and I'm really excited to show you guys some of the new features in 2017 today. So with that, there's a lot of new functionality available, and what I want to point out is I'm really going to go over the highlights of what is new in Revit 2017. If you have any questions after this webinar, please do reach out to the KETIV team for more information. They can really go in depth into what each of the features do and how they can really help your workflow. Without trying to read the slide for you, I do want to point out one thing, so that Revit 2017 does include the Revit 2016 R2 functionality, and our R2 releases are mid-year releases which are compatible with the release that came out before them, and it's great because as long as you're subscription customers, you get all these new features for free, but there is no upgrade, so you don't have to worry about all the consequences that you usually have with installing a new version of Revit. So with that, let me go dive right into these features. And Eric, if at any point you want to interrupt and ask a question or anything like that, feel free to do so.
Yeah, you don't need to remind me to interrupt.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go ahead through some of the features for architects and some of our platform tools. One significant enhancement that people have been asking for a really, really long time is depth queuing. And this is really an architectural style that allows much more dynamic drawings and allows you to fade out things that are further in background. So in this case, we've made this tool really easy to use. You can control kind of where the fade starts and where it ends and how much it fades out. The idea is that this is not going to get every single line perfect in your model, but it's going to give you a much better look really, really quickly where you can just apply it. And it does work with all the other view functionality like hidden lines, sketchy lines. So you can create really, really beautiful architectural drawings really quickly just by clicking a button. Okay, moving on to Railings. So we've improved Railings by allowing them to host on top of all kinds of different shapes and objects in the model. That includes the tops of walls, floors, roofs. And this is really cool because, first of all, you can get your railings to be created really, really quickly. And the other thing is, because they're hosted on that object, they actually do move with the object when the object moves. So if you change the shape of the top of your wall, your railing will automatically update to match that shape. And this is great for modeling railings and really being able to quickly create the designs that you're looking to create.
Gotcha.
Moving on, so one other really exciting feature is the inclusion of the Format 360 converter directly in your 2017 install. And this shows up on the Add-in tab, and it's great because not only does it allow you to import your Format 360 models into Revit as a mass, it also allows you to convert SketchUp models into Format 360 models, take Revit families and convert them into format files. And when you actually import format information into Revit, it allows you to replace the families that you used in Format with native Revit families. So you can actually use real content that is available with Revit. And so this makes the workflow between conceptual modeling and Revit much, much faster and much, much easier.
Can I jump in and interrupt you? I got a couple questions here. I'll answer the most recent one first. Format 360, this is something that Brian's asking. Can you maybe explain to that real quickly what Format 360 is? It's a tool similar to SketchUp.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are familiar with SketchUp. So this is Autodesk's improvement, I'll say, on SketchUp that allows you to do a lot of conceptual modeling very quickly. There's a lot of capabilities that it has for taking a design really from a really basic model and quickly, dynamically, even on your iPad, being able to create a model that you can be used downstream for either taking it to Revit or actually just for displaying to your customers.
Right. So yeah, great point. I think the whole idea being that people who might be using AutoCAD to do architectural design, they maybe quickly do some sort of conceptual design in Format 360, but from there you're kind of stuck once you have that. In SketchUp you're kind of stuck. The idea being from Format you can take it to Revit and then work from there.
Yeah, and I think we'll continue to improve this workflow to make this more and more seamless going forward. So that's really our goal, is to make conceptual design really easy to use in Revit.
Gotcha. And then one other question we got here from Cody. Will this PowerPoint be made available? I know the video is going to be posted and archived on YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be part of the whole overall resource page that we're going to have that includes more in-depth videos and things like that, so yes.
Okay, so yeah, videos, PowerPoints, we'll have all that, and I'll make sure I follow up and make sure you know how to get it. Back to you, Sasha.
Okay, so this is a great subscription benefit if you're on subscription, and hopefully you are. We now have the ability to really drive outcome-driven building analysis and environmental performance information throughout the building lifecycle. And this is Autodesk Insight 360, which does a lot of energy analysis in the cloud. And so the idea of what we really want to do in Revit is we want to make it really easy for you to make quick decisions about your design. And that's why we've made this energy analysis really easy to access. So all you have to do is describe a geographical location And then with using the built-in automatically created energy analytical model, you simply send this for analysis and you get information back about your building. So what it does is it actually allows you to identify key energy performance drivers and compare different design scenarios really quickly and efficiently. It does also integrate existing workflows, things that we've had with Revit to date, including Revit energy analysis and lighting analysis. And it does expand on those tools to provide a more open approach to building performance. And last but not least, it also does allow you access to Energy Plus, heating and cooling load data, and in-context solar analysis. So you can really take your building and understand how it's going to perform in real life and make sure that the design decisions that you're making are going to lead to the best design possible.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, just I guess extending on the Green Building Studio, allowing users to kind of see the impact of their designs sooner versus later on.
All right, so moving on to something that is near and dear to my heart. I work very closely on this project personally, but so this is global parameters. Something actually originally came out in Revit 2016 R2 and has a number of enhancements for Revit 2017. And global parameters are really powerful because they take a lot of the capabilities that we have in families and bring them into the project environment. So you have the ability to create project-wide parameters that can help you capture formulaic relationships between different model elements. So for example, you can measure the size of a room and have a family dynamically update to that size, the size of that room anytime that the room changes. And so those are really great, powerful tools. It's a really great, powerful tool that allows you to capture logic that you have in your head in your design, so you don't have to think about it because the model will do it automatically for you. As with every release, we really make a focus on making sure that your model is able to move and performs as well as possible. So every year we make very targeted performance improvements and also broad ones that actually apply to a lot of areas of Revit. In this case, or in this release, we've actually done a number of big performance improvements. A lot of them is only drawing the elements that you can actually see on your screen. So previously we drew things that were not visible, and this was basically wasting a lot of time. So we've now limited it to only things that you can see, which means that everything that is drawn more quickly so you can get back to work more quickly. We've also introduced a number of background processes, so this is something where you get control back. You can still continue working with the model while some calculations happen in the background and are available to you once those calculations are done. And all of these enhancements really allow you to navigate models more smoothly and continuously, so that you get faster, performance and get your designs done more quickly. Any questions?
I've got one from Roger here. Is Energy Plus part of the subscription, or do you have to pay extra?
I believe it is included in the subscription.
Yep, it is included in the subscription, yeah. Energy Plus, the whole lighting analysis for Revit. There's the Green Building Studio, and I think there's still the rendering, which is done through A360, I believe. All part of the cloud benefits, part of the subscription there, Roger.
And so I've actually heard this release as being described as lightning fast. So every year it's absolutely worthwhile to upgrade to the latest release because we really have invested a lot in performance improvements. And so everything, all your work will be done faster in the new releases. So moving on to really beautiful renderings from the architecture side. So we do have a new rendering engine. It did originally become available in 2016 R2, but now it is the only visualization engine in Revit. It really it's actually a physically based renderer, which means that you get a lot more accurate lights, materials, and reflections. So things that would take hours to do are now done much more quickly. And what the beautiful thing you get is you get these beautiful reflections from the windows, things that were really difficult to do using the previous engine. So you get really quick renderings that are absolutely stunning and much faster. This has been the #1 request, I think, on architecture, structure, and MEP for many, many years, and we've finally done it. So we have now finally have a new text editor and engine. I think the number one thing that it actually solves is not on these bullets, is that very annoying text wrapping bug that, depending on zoom scale, your text would wrap differently. That is now solved. You will never see that because everything happens in Canvas. What you see is what you get. So when you exit the editor, your text is not going to change from what you saw while you're editing it. Additionally, new functionality includes the ability to make everything uppercase, lowercase, add spaces between bullets, and you can actually create multi-level lists with either bullet points or numbers. The other thing that we've done is we actually changed the way that text is calculated, so it is consistent with AutoCAD MText sizing. So when you go back and forth between AutoCAD and Revit, you actually get much more consistent text that doesn't change. So hopefully this will make everybody who's been frustrated with a text editor for years happy. So this is a great reason to upgrade to 2017. So the next next area of improvement is calculated values and tags. And so now what you can do is in a tag specify how to calculate a new value between different parameters that are available in a tag. And this has been something that's requested for a long time, and now you can actually customize your tags efficiently. A few other enhancements to tags also include the way that they behave when they're pinned, where the tag doesn't actually move anymore when you don't expect it to, and when you're dragging and dropping actually behaves much more predictably. So the idea here is to make your ease of documentation much better for you, because that is a bulk of people's time, and we really don't want you to be spending a lot of time documenting your models. We want you to be modeling things.
Hey, Sasha, can I jump in with a quick question here? And I realize I'm falling behind on questions, guys. I'll make sure we circle back and answer them at the end. But I just saw one pop up from Rick. The part about setting all text to uppercase, does that work in tags as well, or just text?
It currently is just text notes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so another cool feature is Dynamo is now available directly out of the box. It's located in the Manage tab, and if you're not familiar with Dynamo, I really recommend taking a look at some of the fantastic YouTube videos that are out there, or AU classes that are actually a lot of AU classes are available for free online. So that's another area you can take a look, but. Dynamo really is a really powerful tool because it allows you to automate a lot of processes that were tedious and manual. So anything that's available through the Revit API can actually be also done on top of Dynamo. And because it's a visual scripting environment, you don't have to understand how to program to use it. So it's really meant for architects to be able to automate their processes, but have the power of everything that's available in the add-in or the API. So it's a really powerful tool, and I think looking at some of the classes that are available can really give you an idea of what you can do with it. So another feature, this is kind of a smaller feature, is the ability to actually lock the ends of two lines as tangent to each other. And this is something that's available in the family environment as well as sketch-based elements of the project environment. And what it allows you to do is to basically encode the behavior of that sketch so it works predictably and maintains that lock between those two curves. So there are also a number of schedule improvements that were done in 2017. First of all is the ability to create a schedule view template. So a lot of the time people tend to create similar schedules over and over and over again, and previously you had to do every single one by hand. Now you can actually create a template that automates that, and so removes that tedious part of the process. So this is really makes creation of schedules much faster and much easier. Additionally, you can now actually display minimum and maximum values for calculations in your schedule, and you can also combine parameters in your schedule to make a new column, and this is really great because we see people wanting to combine two different parameters and say, how do I just make it into one? Well, now you can finally do it, and it's available in 2017.
Hey, Sasha, can I interject with a quick question here?
Yeah, of course.
Matthew asked, how is this different from Revit QTO? I think that was merged into Navisworks functionality, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, quantity takeoff, 4D, 5D tools for costing in the older versions of Revit, right? That's kind of maybe that's too much of a curveball.
Yeah. So I think this is really restricted to Revit schedules, as historically they've been able to be done. There's no direct connection to QTO from these features.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So I'm going to go quickly because I understand there aren't too many structural engineers. So I'm going to go through the Revit structural features fairly quickly. Again, if you have questions about these, reach out to the KETIV team. They'll be happy to explain all this stuff to you in more detail. So one significant area improvement in terms of rebar modeling is reinforcement connectors and the ability to model that connection between two bars when they connect to each other. This can be done in great detail. It's a new type of family, and these guys perform really well, so you can have hundreds of them in your model without bogging down the performance of the rest of your model. Again, like I said, I'll go through these features pretty quickly, but if you're using rebar, this makes detailed modeling for you much easier. Another significant area of improvement for reinforcement is the ability to actually create sets of rebar that have variable distribution. So basically say that the rebar at one end of the beam is gathered much closer together and further apart towards the center. And this kind of flexibility is really something that we keep trying to add to our reinforcement modeling, so we can actually get complete 3D rebar modeling into Revit, so people can actually document their entire model from start to finish. And we're working with a lot of partners to actually automate placement of that. So a lot of the time, some models can be just automated or can be modeled with a complete set of rebar without actually having to place it manually. Another really significant enhancement is the ability to integrate some of the features of steel connection modeling directly into Revit. So we have a product called Advanced Steel. So this is the capability that comes from Advanced Steel and actually allows connections to be detailed directly in Revit and actually show how steel is connected together. This allows more accurate models. It means that we can do things like clash avoidance and things like that, so that we can better understand how the model is put together, and MEP and structure can be compared against each other to understand that there are no issues in terms of the connections themselves. And so there's also, like I said, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, but there's also a number of other structural enhancements. One of them is the ability to better place rebar in Canvas and better control it. This, like I said, we really want to make rebar easier to model, so that is an enhancement in that direction. Also, bent fabric sheet reinforcement, which is really popular in Europe, so you can actually place bent fabric sheets that match the shape of the concrete based on a sketch profile. Structural connections allow storage of analysis information in the model, so that that can be taken downstream and actually used to model detailed steel connections. We also have more accurate steel content, again, because we want to better connect to the rest of the structural ecosystem, so that we can actually go from one product to another, and the actual shapes of the beams and columns can be interpreted and processed in any software. So we want to be consistent with the rest of the structural industry. And we've also improved column and structural foundation modeling, because if you can't get it modeled, then it's really hard to take it to detailing and take it all, understand exactly how your building is going to be assembled. So we're always looking for opportunities to improve our actual modeling capabilities. So that was a quick overview of structural features. Do you have any questions?
None on that, but maybe before we get too far behind on questions, I can scroll up to the top and we can try and answer a couple we might have missed. Cody asked, have you made any adjustments to the speed improvements for RCP and RCS file imports, so point cloud data, while using the point clouds to model from?
I don't think that there are any specific targeted improvements, but I think one thing I can tell you is if you're seeing performance problems, it's really helpful for us to get the models themselves because we can actually make targeted fixes and understand it. So where something may be performing very well for us, it may not be performing well for you. And without that model, it's really hard for us to produce. So if you are seeing problems, please do send it. Please do send those models our way. We'd love to be able to help you and improve those. Improve that performance in that area.
Great, thanks. And Cody, we can connect online and I guess facilitate that or help discuss it more. Another question I got here: do the new performance items work with existing hardware, graphic cards, etc.? I guess it's a question along system requirements, Sasha.
Yes, absolutely. So the vast majority of our enhancements do work with the existing graphics cards. We did actually in 2016 R2 released a new functionality called occlusion culling, and this basically uses some advanced features of graphics cards to not draw things that are invisible in the view currently. So if you have a wall in front of something, it doesn't draw the thing behind the wall. That does actually require a shader model 5 graphics card. Obviously, you're not, the only thing that you're not going to see is you're not going to see the added benefit if your card does not support it. Most of our performance enhancements do support all the cards we've always supported.
Gotcha. Great. And then probably one more before we fall too far behind here in the presentation. Brian asked, this goes back to the text annotating, does the tag scale as a drawing may change in scale?
So, I think that the standard way that tags work is that they are in drawing scale. So basically, based on the scale of your view is what you will see as your tag. Answer the question? Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Brian, we'll talk about that offline. I'll have one of our AEs shoot you an email and get through that. But perfect. Thanks.
Okay. So moving on to some of the Revit 2017 MEP design and fabrication functionality. So one of the enhancement for 2017 is the optimization of design to fabrication. So if you use the design to fabrication tool, there are a number of services that will become available to you, and that those services will actually be available for duct and pipe elements, and they can automatically convert a design model into a detailed model based on the rules defined in those services. The other functionality here is that there are a number of reviewable warnings that will pop up that will suggest how to optimize lengths based on real-world content. So when your duct is longer than it would actually be manufactured, it will basically allow you to divide that duct into pieces that are actually shippable, or that are actually real-world. And once that happens, you can actually then make changes to the rest of your model to deal with it, shorter segments, and whether you want to extend fittings such as elbows and T's to consume the remaining short segments, or just adjust their location. So while we automatically create things for you, you can also make changes to your model so that you can actually get the exact model that you need. And all of this is really to make sure that it's easy to take the design to the next level of detail and be able to manufacture and assemble your MEP model or your ducts and pipes directly from the model. So additional part routing improvements. So you can now select the two endpoints of a run and have an automated, the software automatically generate different options on how to connect them. It allows you to preview which fittings are going to be used in each options, or you can actually specify specific fittings that you're interested in. And it also allows you a lot of control over specifying how you want to, what you want to happen in sloped runs. And the cut into option and route and fill enables you to connect T and tab scenarios. So there's a lot of control over how you can do, over how you can automatically place your fittings when assembling, when actually creating an automatic run between two endpoints. Wow, sorry, tongue-tied there.
No worries.
The trim and extend tool works just like you would expect the trim and extend tool to work, and it takes into consideration the conditions and connectivity rules and inserts fittings. If you want a specific fitting but don't know what the dimensions of that fitting are, you can place the fitting and then actually stretch it using Quick Connect, and it will actually snap it to the appropriate geometry and extend its shape. This makes this modeling fittings a lot quicker and more efficient. So moving on to fabrication layout improvements. First of all, you can actually really quickly change the type of your fitting and swap out one fitting for another. This is kind of a functionality that you expect from Revit, but now you can actually do it for fabrication parts. You can control the slope of fabrication segments and change their slope really easily with a nice little in-canvas control. And there are a number of improvements also to fabrication documentation. Because we're, like I said earlier, we always want to make it easier for you to document your layout as effectively as possible. We want to make documentation painless, where right now it is often really painful. So a number of parameters have actually been made available for scheduling and tagging, and the graphical representations that you can use have been improved as well. We can also now control the visibility of insulation and lining using element subcategories, and these will also now respect MEP hidden line settings. So we've actually made it a lot easier to get exactly the drawings that you want and to make them behave exactly, to generate the drawings that you need in order to be able to deliver documentation that you have to. Hanger improvements. A new type of hanger has been added, so we now have the ability to create trapeze hangers so that you can actually support one hanger from another. You can also now adjust the rod position of a hanger to coordinate with either structural locations or other services, and we can also now create cantilevered elements that allow you to extend the bearer on a hanger support so that you can actually support additional services on that hanger. The one other enhancement is that you can actually now place a hanger in free space. So if you expect something to be present there that will support that hanger, you can actually create that hanger as a representative. It doesn't actually have to be attached to something. We've made a number of design improvements so that we can better communicate engineering data for electrical. This includes the apparent load calculations. So what this does is it now gives you two different options to choose from to meet your load tabulation preferences. So you can either sum the true load and the reactive load, and this is the default for the functionality, or you can actually sum the apparent load to create a more simplified approach. So a couple of other design computation improvements. First one is a new type of parameter, which is the temperature difference. So this allows you to actually calculate the difference between two temperatures, the delta, and use that in further downstream calculations. So this was something that was impossible to do because Revit didn't understand the difference between two temperatures. Now you can actually do that. And also, in order to provide more accurate pressure drop calculations on duct networks, you can now associate a pressure drop table with duct fitting taps. So once you do this, Revit actually computes the pressure drop along the main and the branch at the tap fittings, leading to more accurate designs and better engineering data. And a few scalability improvements. First of all, mark values are no longer automatically populated in Revit MEP, which means that you actually see fewer duplicate mark warnings, which means that your models perform much faster. The pipe system volume calculations have actually been moved to background process. So what you'll see is you'll see this kind of calculating dot, dot, dot in your parameter, and once it's available, that value will show up. But it will allow you to continue working because you're probably not looking at that parameter all the time. And I mentioned smart views when I was talking about architecture. This also applies to ducts. So there's two enhancements for ducts. One of them is the fact that we no longer draw ducts that are not in your view. And the other thing that we do is when you're really zoomed out and your duct basically looks like just a single line, we actually replace it with a simplified representation. So it doesn't hurt your drawings because it looks exactly the same, but it performs much faster. So with that, that was a really quick overview of all the new features in Revit 2017. If you have any more questions, I think we can go ahead and open them now. Hopefully this was useful to you. And let me know if there's any more questions I can answer.
Yeah, no, good job. Like you said, I mean, we could probably spend a day or more just going over all the features, just depending on how detailed you want to get. But for 40 minutes, yeah, I think that gave everyone hopefully at least a better understanding of what's out there. Obviously, going along the theme of just automating more of the workflow and trying to help people design more efficiently. Appreciate it. Jumping into a couple of questions here. Actually, going back to Brian's question about the tags scaling as the drawing scales. Actually, Rick was able to answer that for us. Appreciate it, Rick. Tags are not scaled. They're whatever height you set them to be, regardless of the view scale. So, Brian, hopefully I answered your question. And Rick, thanks for helping us out there. A couple of questions I have here that I know have been sitting out there for a while. And again, I apologize if I miss anyone. We'll be sure to wrap up if we can't get to it. But Kathy asks, does my 2015 or 2016 Revit files, can they be read in the 2017 Revit version?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So all Revit files do upgrade forward. So 2015, 2016 can open in 2017. The one thing to be aware of is once you've upgraded them to 2017, you cannot take them back. So if you're working with somebody in your company, if you're working with contractors or anything like that, you need to make sure that everybody is on the same Revit version.
Gotcha. Great. Question I have here too. Actually, this question's come up a couple times from Jim. Jim asks, I have Revit structural or civil engineering firm. With the newest updates, are we going to get full version of Revit? I guess, Jimmy, the answer to that, the short answer to that is yes. Some of you may be familiar. They had different, I guess, flavors of Revit over the last couple of years. There used to be a Revit particularly for architecture. There's a Revit for structural engineers, Revit for MEP. And then a couple of years ago in the suite, they made just one Revit, which has all those different functionalities. And I guess it's my understanding, and Sasha, correct me if I'm wrong here, that one of the benefits of subscription is the most current updates, and this latest 2017 Revit update has all those functionalities in one.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Cool. Well, I like to hear those answers. So, yeah, good news, Jim. You have all the other functionalities of Revit in addition to just structural. So now just two Revit offerings, Revit and Revit LT. And then no one's asked this question, but I figured I might as well answer it because we might as well just address it because it gets asked a lot. Sasha, can you explain the differences between Revit and Revit LT? Or just quickly?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, so Revit LT is a more cost-effective, streamlined version for targeted architecture professionals, but it doesn't include a lot of the collaborative functionality, things like work sharing and analysis, and it also doesn't include in product rendering. So it really is meant for people who are working more independently and don't need the collaborative aspect of Revit. You can still open work shared files, but you won't be able to use the work sharing functionality. So if you have multiple people working on your model, you're going to need a full version of Revit.
Right, and I think one thing I add to that too is, if I'm not mistaken, the MEP functionality in Revit LT is limited. You can't actually fully connect a system, right?
Yes, absolutely. So it is targeted at architecture professionals. So there, yeah, a lot of some of the functionality of MEP and structure is actually not available. Okay,
great, thanks.
All right, I think that's all of the questions that we have. Actually, one just came in. Can you address that one from Matt?
Yeah. It's not all the questions. We got to get caught up on questions, guys. Sorry. Thank you for the questions, by the way. Will backwards compatibility ever be available with Revit? Matt asks.
Let me. That's a tricky question, but essentially, what happens is Revit doesn't actually store the geometry of your objects; it stores a data model. So imagine if you, in one release, you have only an ability to create a straight wall, which is defined by 2 endpoints and a height. Now, in the next release, you have the ability to add a arced wall. Well, the problem is there is no way, which is now defined by 3 points and a height. There's no way to convert that data back into a previous release. So what essentially you would get if we were to transfer information from a later Revit version into an early one is you get dumb objects that are not able to adapt and behave like you would expect from Revit objects. And that's really the reason that Revit is not backwards compatible, is there's no way to convert an object from a later version of Revit into an earlier version.
Gotcha. Thanks. Thank you for that question, Matt. Hopefully it was answered. Thanks for the answer, Sasha.
Yeah, I think in respect to everybody's time, rest assured, if we didn't answer your questions on today's session, we will follow up with you offline and make sure all the questions that you have are answered. So either Eric or one of our application engineers will follow up with you individually to make sure that all your questions are answered. And I just want to remind everyone, like, there's just such a short period of time. We're barely on the surface of all of these new features. I mean, I think, Sasha, you rattle off, what, like 30 of them? So there's no way we can go in depth into a lot of these, right?
Yeah, inch deep, mile wide, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and thanks for cutting me off, because I'm a sales guy. I like to talk, and I'd probably extend this to a afternoon lunch and learn.
Yeah. So again, if you have more in-depth question, please contact us. You have our contact information, or if you are too shy to ask questions, after the webcast, there's a survey that pops up. Just go ahead and type in your questions, and we will get back to you if you have any questions at all.
Okay.
Great. All right. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Special thank you go out to you, Sasha. Thanks for being a hero with Fred being out sick, jumping in last minute and helping us out. Really love to have you on board. And hopefully we'll have you on our future webcast and with a lot more time to prepare.
Yeah, thanks, Sasha. Yeah, so hopefully you guys saw some benefit today's new Revit presentation. Again, we're willing to go in depth and talk a little bit more about how the new features might relate to your workflow. Feel free to reach out to me or Fred or anyone else on the team here will help you out. And then feel free to share, I guess, the Lunch and Learns with colleagues, friends, whoever. Again, subscribe once and you're always on there, and you can log on to anything you see relevant. And hopefully for any civil engineers on here or anyone else just interested, we'll see you in 2 weeks from now when we will be discussing InfraWorks 360.
Sounds good. Have a great rest of our day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.